What do divorce, Boy Scouts, baseball, and golf have in common?
A confusing weekend?
Wrong! They make up the foundation of one of the longest, most consistent, most respected careers in commercial real estate history.
Timmy, breathe.
I won't! Because after 4 decades and over 2,000 transactions, our guest has cracked the code and distilled the chaos of brokerage into a repeatable, ethical, and wildly successful system represented in 8 beautiful letters. SEQUENCE.
Yeah, that spells sequence.
It spells legacy, Bo. It spells freedom. It spells, I don't know, probably commissions too.
Just hit play. This is Commercially Speaking.
All right.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Commercially Speaking, the only commercial real estate podcast where a CCIM instructor tries to teach the game to an actor who thinks cash-on-cash return is a gambling term.
I'm Bo Barron, CCIM, co-founder of Hearthstone Capital, CCIM instructor, owner-director of Barron Commercial Group, and the guy who tries to keep this show from veering off a cliff.
And I'm Timmy Barron, ADHD, actor, comedian, and passive investor, in the idea of one day becoming a passive investor. Today's guest is Allen frickin' Buchanan.
SIOR. For 4 decades in brokerage, over 2,000 deals, and now the author of the new book, The Sequence, a step-by-step playbook for CRE brokers that's equal parts memoir, method, and midfield coaching session.
This man took divorce, Boy Scouts, baseball, and golf and used it as the foundation by which he built the framework for generational brokerage success. Meanwhile, I once tried to qualify a lead and ended up adopting a cat that gave birth to 6 kittens and infested our home with fleas. True story.
Sorry, Mom. Allen's been called a top voice in the industry, a mentor's mentor, and the guy who figured out how to turn evaluate, qualify, close into repeatable 6-figure months.
This episode is a ride, and Allen brings the goods with the calm confidence of a man who's walked the long road and then wrote the map.
Please welcome to the show, Allen Buchanan! Yeah, baby, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Allen.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. If you don't send me that, I'm gonna frame it and put it in my office. That is amazing. Thank you.
You got it. You got it. You got it. Well, Bo, tell us, I know you know Allen pretty well. You really like Allen a lot, which means this is going to be a good episode.
Man, I know Allen because of Twitter.
That's right.
Yeah.
You two did Twitter.
That's right.
Like he is the OG of Twitter. There was a group of us, I don't know, back around 2009 or something that got on the platform and started using it. Maybe it was even before then. And
For all those kids out there, that's what they used to call X.
oh yeah. It's now X. It's hard to say X. What do you call, like, does now that it's X, do we still call it tweets?
I think it's still called tweets. Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's still called tweets.
But anyway, we got to know each other on Twitter. And I don't really remember how that played out other than we were just both active on the platform.
Sure.
And then, and I don't remember the first time I met you face to face. It was probably at a conference or maybe a Massimo thing. He ended up, as a client of the Massimo group. And
Okay.
And so we've been connected for most of my career.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all happened on social media.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
I like to tell people we met the old-fashioned way, though, through social media.
That's right. That's right.
That's great. Well, we've teased it enough already about divorce, Boy Scouts, baseball, and golf. And one of my first questions is like wanting a little background story about how you got into this business, where you came from. And so in this case, divorce, Boy Scouts, baseball, and golf, what do these 4 things have in common, and explain to us why?
Yeah, so just a real quick clarification so that my bride of 46 years doesn't skewer me. It's not
That's right.
my divorce.
That's right. It was not
my
your divorce. That's right.
This is the time to clarify that.
Right. Thank you. Qualify. I like that. I like the way you use that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, not my divorce, my parents' divorce. So divorce, baseball, golf, Boy Scouts. My parents got a divorce when I was 14 years old, and I was the oldest of three, and it was absolutely a devastating time in my life. Literally, not to be too much of a Debbie Downer here, but it truly was devastating because at 14, you don't know who you are, much less who your parents are, and
Sure.
we're sitting around in our family room. I'll never forget it. They were pouring over this stack of legal documents. I thought we were selling the family business, frankly. And next thing I know, my brother's running out of the room crying. My sister's too little to remember what happened. And here I am, a 14-year-old, all of a sudden from a broken home. And so, I was just devastated. But I look back, and what that taught me how to be was a mediator, which is an amazing skill in the commercial real estate world. I was fortunate to be asked to be on the staff of Camp Pioneer in Mena, Arkansas that same summer, because had I to hang out with my mom that summer, it would have been awful, because my mom was really reeling from the divorce, not knowing, frankly, what to do. She was in bed a lot. Couldn't emerge from the depression. Anyway, long story longer, I ended up at Camp Pioneer, got face to face with a lot of very highly motivated and ethical young men through the Boy Scouts of America program. I went on to become an Eagle Scout a couple of years later. It was about that time that I took up golf because I got hit with a comebacker in the face playing baseball. So that kind of ended my baseball career. So yeah, all four of those things happened within a span of about, 2 years. Wow. And I look back, and those four events really framed the balance of my life, the balance of my career today.
Yeah.
So how significant was the transition from baseball to golf, though? Like, did you play golf in college? Is that what led you there? Or is it just been a big part of... We've never talked about golf, so I have no idea.
Right. Yeah. I took up golf right after I got injured playing baseball because my dad and paternal grandfather played, and so it was kind of a way to hang out with them. I like the fact that golf's an individual sport as opposed to a team sport. Although, funny aside, I think it kind of hindered my ability to build a team until I kind of figured out that a team is filled with role players. But yeah, I played at a fairly good level at the high school ranks. I got a couple of D3 scholarship offers, but I was bound and determined to become a Razorback and take up drinking.
Yeah.
So that's what I did in college. But I pretty much hung up the sticks until our kids moved out of the house to go to college. Didn't play very regularly for 25, 30 years.
Well, I just saw a clip of you. What was it? Sticking it on the green on the 7th hole at Pebble Beach.
Yes, sir. That happened in
played
January.
there. Oh, that was January? Because I played there about 6 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
And I did not put it on the green on 7. I did par the 1st and the 17th holes.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
And we won't talk about the rest of the round.
I don't know much about golf. I don't know much about golf, but my youngest daughter is named Birdie, so
that's right.
There's my contribution.
If you parred the 17th hole, that's saying something, because that is one large par 3.
Well, good job, Allen.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Allen, I do want to ask you about in your book, you talk about what makes up an elite broker.
Hey, if you're new to commercial real estate investing, you probably know the feeling. Brokers, underwriting, raising capital, where do you even begin? And that's why CRE Investor Coach exists, to give new and emerging investors a clear step-by-step path to closing their first deal. I believe in this program so much, I actually joined the team as an adjunct faculty member. That's how committed I am to helping more people get into the space right now. Whether you want to go at your own pace with on-demand training, launch your first investment with expert coaching, or scale with a master mastermind of other ambitious investors, there's a roadmap here for you. Inside, you'll learn how to define your investor identity, analyze deals with confidence, talk to brokers like a pro, raise capital, and build a real acquisition pipeline without all the guesswork. This is about building a business that blesses your life, not breaks your spirit. So if you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and actually get in the game, check out the link in the show notes and start your journey today. Learn, launch, and scale with CRE Investor Coach. This episode is also brought to you by Site to Do Business, commercial real estate's most advanced toolkit, providing commercial real estate professionals like me with premier data, mapping, and marketing tools to win business and revolutionize decision making. Visit stdb.com to learn more.
I'm not familiar with this, but it seems like there's a lot of brokers out there that don't last long because they can get burnout, or, you know, it takes a while to get into the flow of what you're doing and making money, right? Because there's a while there where you're just working off of nothing, really.
Unless you're Allen and you go into commercial real estate out of nowhere with wasn't your son just a baby when you did it?
Yeah, he was. He actually went to our closing interview with Lee and Associates because I was just bound and determined that this was going to be a family decision. And one of the members of the family, we had 3 members of our family at the time, my wife, my son Blake, and me. And Blake was 7 months old, so he really didn't know how to vote, but we took him along, and it was, you know, it was remarkable. I think back on that, and it was just magical, because we interviewed with a gentleman named John Vogt, V-O-G-T. John's son Marshall now is the manager of our Lee & Associates Orange office, which is incredibly ironic to me. And one of my early mentors, a guy by the name of John Earnhardt, was in the interview, and my wife Carla, my son Blake, and me. And John looks to my wife Carla, because she's firing questions at him left and right about what this is going to entail and what are you going to put my husband through, and my husband's going to be working here and not making any money for the X amount of time. I got to really understand this, because had I done this before, we probably wouldn't be sitting here, because he wouldn't be chasing an airplane 3 nights a week. But John looks over at me and he goes, you know, yeah, we'll hire you, but can we hire this young lady alongside you? Right? She's really the A player of the team. So pretty magical time.
Now, is it at that time you moved from Arkansas to California?
No, moved from Arkansas to California right after graduation, and had no, you know, I was in love with my wife Carla, but we had not made a commitment to one another to take it to the next level. I told her kind of stupidly in retrospect, I said, you know, I need to go out to California, get myself established, get my career going, and then you and I will talk about getting married. And I landed at San Francisco International Airport, and I said, I have made the biggest mistake in my life. I have got to get this young lady to say yes to marry me. So she was the first call I made when I landed.
You know, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I went, when I went into boot camp in the Marine Corps, I wrote my wife a letter, told her I was in love with her.
While you're in boot camp.
While I'm in boot camp,
Yes.
I write her this letter. It kind of dawned on me while I was in boot camp. And then when I got out, I got to go home for a little bit before I went to California for language school. And we talked about the future. And at this point, I'm like, I'm not interested in dating anybody just for the sake of dating. Like, I'm in love with you. I want to pursue marriage. Like, or we're wasting our time. Really. And she was on board with that. But I was like, look, I don't know what the Marine Corps is going to do with me. And so, you know, if I have to map out the timeline here, I think, you know, maybe this is a 4-year wait to see what happens. And then we can get married then. And then they shipped me out to California. She came out to visit a couple times. And on one of those, just a handful of months later, I was like, will you marry me? And we were married at the end of that year. Like, it was the whole, like, mapping it out and seeing what happens. I was like, man, I do not want to do life without this woman. So, Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And
Something about California.
yeah, and Timmy, I'm sure you picked up on that. He came to California to language school because we definitely speak a different language out here.
Oh, you got that right. Californians, man.
Is that what they sound like?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right now I'd break into my Spicoli accent if I had one.
What a great word.
Right?
Spicoliac.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell us what are the ingredients that make an elite broker? I'm curious.
Well, I believe that it really starts foundationally, which is the first part of the sequence. And the foundation is where you live, who you love, who were your early mentors, some of the earlier contrarian decisions that you make. And I go through all these in great detail in the book. So I really believe that a commercial real estate career is built foundationally. And it's very important, like anything else you build. I know your grandfather was a home builder, and I know that we're all faithful followers here. So foundation is critically important. You know, once you have the foundation, you really have to have the proper why. I was going to get a mask for Barbara Corcoran, but I couldn't find one. So the best I could do,
My man.
Oh wait, let me show you this. Let me show you.
the
He
best I
sent
could
me.
do is a screensaver.
He sent me this
So
picture
she's here
earlier.
to
I
my
gotta
left,
say.
looking at me, smiling at me in her
Oh,
yellow
that's amazing.
dress. Yeah,
That's amazing. That's great. Show the camera.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's so cool. That was this morning. That was Barb and me rehearsing for the podcast. So, you know, Barbara Corcoran was asked one time, they said, hey, how can you determine if someone's going to be successful in the real estate business? And we all know she did residential, but there's a close parallel. Mm-hmm. And she said, I can tell within the first 20 seconds if someone's going to be successful in the commercial real estate, or in the real estate business. And they said, well, what is that? She goes, they have to have a why. They have to be able to tell me their why. And they have to be able to tell me their why very succinctly. And they have to believe in that. So once you have that foundation, the next thing is you better have the why. And for me, the why was I didn't want to travel. I didn't want to, unless I chose to. I didn't want to cap on my income. I didn't necessarily want employees. I didn't necessarily want inventory. In other words, I didn't want a warehouse full of stuff I had to sell. And commercial real estate seemed to sort of fit all those, check all those boxes. Mm. So foundation, why, and then it's a matter of you just gotta focus and you gotta work your behind off. Because I don't know of anyone that's successful in this business. You've had a lot of successful folks on your podcast. I don't know of anyone that's successful in this business that hasn't put in the reps, that hasn't really worked at it.
Yeah.
And so I'd say those are the three elements. And the book's broken down into 3 parts, as you know. The first part is decisions and mentors and decisions and missteps and whatnot that sort of built the foundation. The second piece is the why. It's the tactical piece. It's the sequence. And then the third piece, I go into some legacy things like platforms and things that would help you be successful both today and in an ongoing basis.
You've been in the business 46 years. Which means
41. Married 46, business 41.
41. Okay. So I was 7 when you got into the business. And you've had this incredible career. Why go through the brain damage of writing a book?
Well, someone asked me that the other day, and I responded in a rather politically incorrect fashion. I said, because that's what old white guys do, right?
I think I know the answer to this.
Yeah, but I was actually on with Amy Calandrino, who's not an old white guy. She's a very successful young white woman. But I really believed I had something to say. It was sort of an aha moment. I was delivering a seminar on what I call the Qualify framework, which is the Q of sequence, to our Atlanta office back in March of this year. And I had been sort of tossing around 2 or 3 book ideas, but this gentleman in the front row raises his hand and he says, "This is phenomenal information. When are you going to write a book about it?" And it was like, bam, there it is. There's the incentive. There's the impetus. I need to get this all on a sheet of paper and make sure I get this published for now and for generations. So that's the reason I embarked on it. Plus, my good friend Bob Knackle wrote a book, so I figured, gosh, I can't be second to him, right?
That's right.
No, you can't. No, you can't. And Bo, if you actually read the book, you'll know that a big part of why he wrote it was for his grandkids.
Yeah. I know. I just wanted to, get the answer on.
I just wanted to prove that I read it a little bit too.
I know what you were doing there.
Well, that is the first page. So
yes,
yeah, you
enough.
read the first page.
Okay, you got me.
No, but like when we started, I made this remark to Timmy earlier. When we started this podcast, a lot of the podcasts that I listen to, they interview people who have written books, or another way to say it is these really interesting people who write books are available to go on podcast shows after they've written a book because they're out there promoting the book.
Right.
Great. And I thought, man, why did I have to be in an industry where nobody writes books? But we've had like 5 or 6 people over the last couple of months. They've written books. They've come on the show, and I'm like, all right, there's more books. And I'll tell you, yours is really good. And
oh wow.
And and here's where I want our listeners to go get your book, because not only is like your sequence method, I really, really like it. And we'll have you kind of walk us through it here in a minute, but you wrap all of this in the context of your life and your career. So information is great to have, but it's so hard to apply out of context. And you use the story of your career and your life, and you get very vulnerable in this. I mean, you talk about, like you made a joke about how was it 1991? You stopped drinking?
Yes.
And the joke was your first 30 years, you drank enough for the rest of your life, like a lot of people would have left something like that out, but you humanize yourself so much in this book. And so if somebody just knows you online or from the Tuesday traffic tips, which everybody should go follow, they get a big dose of you in here. And you're a world-class guy. So like, as I'm reading this, I'm thinking, man, I'm learning so much about my friend. But what you give in this book is incredibly valuable for anybody who wants to have a successful career in commercial real estate. But it's like a filet mignon wrapped in bacon. It's like
That's
you
good.
give that context, and it allows you to take that information and actually apply it.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that you wrote the book. I wish I would have had this, 20 years ago, but I'm excited to have it now. So before we get into the sequence, though, there's something, and I learned this from you, I don't know, it was years ago. You've been talking about this for a while, but you got a section in the book where you do this. So I want us to teach Timmy something. If you excited?
Yeah,
You look excited.
I am, yeah.
All right, so think about if you're in commercial real estate brokerage, okay, this is not about NOIs and cash on cash and cap rates and any of this other stuff. Okay, so forget about the acronyms.
Sure, done.
Just think about relationally, how can you grow your business? All right.
Okay.
This is your home court. This is where you're really good.
Yeah.
Like relationally.
Yep.
But one thing you can do as a commercial real estate broker is think through what other professionals have the same clients that I want.
Yeah.
So think about it. Who do you think, what other industries should commercial real estate brokers strategically build relationships with?
Yeah.
so that they can share clients.
Right.
Like, what do you think?
Well, the first thing I would think of is a lawyer or an accountant. They would have similar.
Yes and yes.
Okay. Lawyer and accountant.
There's 6 of these that Allen lays out in the book. So
Okay.
you got 2 of them already.
Landscaping and construction. Those are 2, but
No.
yes, no. Okay.
What's put on almost every
Signs.
deal that's done?
Oh, what's put on every deal that's done?
Think about our
A bank. Bankers.
Yes. Okay.
Bank,
So most of the time, there's a debt piece to the capital stack, right?
That's right. Debt piece to the capital stack.
So you got 3. What else?
Yeah. People who make signs, signage. I don't know. I'm going to sit here thinking for a little bit. If y'all want to just go ahead and jump in.
What is another, like on your house? What do you have to have on your house and on your car?
Yeah, roof.
And on some lives?
Insurance.
Not a roof.
Yes.
Not a roof,
Insurance.
by the way. Not a roof.
Not a roof. Yeah, I was like, a roof, sunroof.
But yeah,
skylight.
like
Yes.
commercial insurance folks have clients. Allen, you want to lead him to the last 2?
Yeah. Wealth advisory.
Yep. Okay.
So someone that helps you invest your wealth once you start making money, doing whatever you're doing. And then
Right.
finally, what I call M&A advisors, mergers and acquisitions advisors, or investment bankers. So those are the 6 professions.
Wait, what does M&A stand for?
Mergers and acquisitions.
Merger, yeah, and they're also called investment bankers.
Okay.
So all your Wall Street folks, that's what they're doing. They're helping companies either acquire additional companies, they're helping taking them public, they're helping taking them private. They are helping them dispose of companies. So anytime there's a merger, acquisition, disposition, there is a commercial real estate deal that follows 100% of the time. And if you think about what occurred in 2008 when we had our little minor economic setback, let's call it, right?
Oh yeah,
remember that,
thing?
Bo?
Okay.
The minor economic setback. I've never heard it described that way.
Me neither.
Yeah, and my tongue, if you can see, is firmly in my cheek. But so what we saw during that period of time was we saw a tremendous amount of merger activity among banks. And I can't even rattle through them, but I know, J.P. Morgan and Bank of America and Wachovia and Wells Fargo and you name them. And so we had all this merger activity. And now think about your friendly neighborhood shopping center. 2008, you might go there and you've got a Bank of America branch, you've got a Wells Fargo branch, you've got a World Savings branch, etc. Well, now with all this merger activity, you've got duplicity of locations. You might have Wells Fargo and right next door a Wachovia branch. Well, guess what? Wachovia is now owned by Wells Fargo. So I don't need 2 bank branches from which to do business. So one of those is going to have to be dealt with in some manner. So that's why merger and acquisitions folks are so key. And I serve privately held companies, generally a mom and pop manufacturing distribution company. And they can be quite large, by the way. Mom and pop does not mean small. Mom and pop just means privately held.
Yeah.
So many of those have transition periods during the life of their companies, and some of those transitions involve selling the company. And so whenever that happens, there's a commercial real estate decision. So that's why it's so important to know who those folks are.
Yeah. Well, walk me through how you begin to build relationships. Do you go to look out what conferences? Do you show up to the place and say, "Hey, I'd like to take you to coffee"?
Sure, that works.
Yeah,
that
all
works.
those.
For me, I'd have to take 2 steps back, and I'm not going to give you a long diatribe here, but
Sure.
I think the first thing you have to recognize is, hey, there's real potential here. Because one thing I say in the book, commercial real estate agents, we pretty much suck at networking. I mean, we do. We know what each other does for a living, but I can tell you with specificity what Bo does for a living, and he can tell you with specificity what I do for a living, because we've known each other. We've had these conversations. But if I had to explain to you, if you knew nothing about commercial real estate, I have to explain to you simply what it is that I do and how it is that I do it and who it is that I serve. Most commercial real estate brokers cannot articulate that clearly, right? So I had to develop a very succinct value proposition that not only someone in the commercial real estate business would understand, but also someone outside the commercial real estate industry would understand. And I had to identify what other professions that serve the same clientele I do that don't compete with me but supplement my efforts. And for me, it happened very interestingly. I joined a networking group. I go through the story of the 2008 fallout, and we had this apocalyptic landscape where there were no commercial real estate deals being done. I had sold a business park. The owner had managed to run off 80% of the tenants, so I was helping him fill the business park. And he was having me do things like, put a sky puppet up in front of the project to attract traffic. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's come to this. He calls me one Friday. He says, hey, there's a business expo at Cal State Fullerton tomorrow, Saturday. I'd like you to go and pass out some flyers for our business park. And I thought, okay, here we go. Saturday, I don't typically work on Saturdays, but I grab my wife, we go to this thing. First guy I meet, he says, hey, I've already got a location. And I said, okay, great. How would you suggest I market these spaces? He says, come to my networking group. I show up, we go around the room, people are telling others what they do for a living. My turn to speak, and I'm just, I don't have anything to say. And I'm very rarely at a loss for words, but I was at a loss for words. So I had to really dig deep and figure out a way to communicate my value to someone. I go to this training session, sit at a table with a young man. His name is Daryl Cole, one of my dear friends to this day. He says, what do you do for a living? And I had now formulated in my mind, okay, here's what I do for a living. I provide location advice to owners and occupants of industrial buildings in Southern California. Boom. He goes, I need someone like you. Well, it turns out he had a family who owned a parcel of land in my town, and they needed some advice on what to do with this because there were 6 siblings. You'll appreciate this. You've got 6 siblings. 6 siblings. They own this piece of real estate. They all got along, but they didn't want it to pass to the next generation where they'd have a big turf war. And so that led to a meeting, and I'm sitting around this meeting going, holy cow, I did not make a cold call. I did not send out one piece of marketing collateral.
You didn't have to compete for the business.
I didn't have to compete for the business. These people are in front of me, ready to hire me to do a deal if I can figure out how to sell their piece of land. And I thought, wonder who else would fall into that category. And that's when the other 5, I got to thinking about it, and that's when the other 5, came into focus. So I meet them in a number of ways. I mean, I meet them through LinkedIn. I meet them at networking groups. I meet them through introductions of other strategic partners. I meet them through my clients by asking them, hey, who's your CPA? Who invests your wealth for you? Who's your banker? And a lot of times they'll say to me, my banker's kind of so-so. I'm actually thinking about changing bankers. Boom. There's a great opportunity to introduce some of your banker pals. Yep. So it really grows organically. And there's so very few brokers that do this. I mean, some do it to a degree, but I have literally built a business on doing this.
Now, think about this, because he's left out a couple things, probably just so we don't talk about this the entire episode.
Yeah.
But there's a couple other things that are really powerful about this. One is I can almost guarantee you that when he pursues these people, he approaches them with, I want to understand what you do so I can help you.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not, hey, do you have any clients that you could refer my way?
Right.
Yep.
It's not from that angle. It's like, man, if I can really understand, build a relationship with you, if I can help you out, then you'll return the favor.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
But he goes into this for what they get in. And I know that's true because I know Allen. But the other thing is, imagine what happens when a CPA refers business to a commercial real estate broker. What does the CPA know? And I'm just using CPA as an example. Wealth Advisor, some of these others are going to have the same. It's going to apply to them too. But what does the CPA know?
Money.
I mean,
accounting.
Yes, but what do they know about their client?
I mean, not.
Oh man, they know where the body's.
They know
buried.
everything about that client. They are
sure.
intimate with that client. Yeah. They know receivables. They know payables. They know cash in the bank.
Right.
They know lease expirations. They know family dynamics. They know. Think about
estate
the CPA
planning.
that does your work.
Right. Right.
And so, if that person recommends me, then all that trust transfers.
Yeah.
And now I've started way above zero.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so you like when he's talking about, man, he's built a business on pursuing relationships with people in these 6 categories. No joke, man. Like if you can help make those people in those 6 categories successful and they start returning the favor to you, like that is way more effective. Because, I mean, think about his story. Like he's sitting there with a deal right in front of him. He didn't have to compete for that business.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He didn't have to pursue it.
Right.
Well, I mean, he pursued it, but
yeah,
like it was such a
it's
more clear path forward.
It's a very helpful perception to take on what networking, right? That's a scary word for so many people, and you got to go and you got to. The immediate thought is like, oh, I got to tell people about what I do, and I got to talk about myself and such. But this is totally flipped. Where
man, you walk into the room like, who can I help in here?
Who can I help? That's right. Who can I help? How can I learn about but we've talked about this before about walking in and throwing your pen at your face and creates a bit of a scene. People come over, what's going on? Then you stand up, you make some coins disappear, and they're like, who is this guy? All of a sudden, everybody wants your card, and you're going, and performing at their kid's birthday party. That's how I network.
Yeah, well, whatever it takes, right? Whatever order it takes in that regard. But to Bo's point, if you get referred, and classic example of this, literally 2 days ago, I sat with a family-owned manufacturing company in Irvine, California. They have been in business since the 1970s. The matriarch's dad founded the company. So now I'm at a table with matriarch, patriarch, and 2 of their 3 kids who are in the business. And they occupy a building in Irvine, California, and they're at the point where they need to figure out, do we renew? Do we move? Do we look at buying a building? And guess where that introduction originated? From their CPA. We probably talked for 45 minutes to an hour. We took a tour of the plant. We reassembled in the conference room. My associate, my son-in-law, had a jet. And so the patriarch looks to me and he goes, it's really interesting meeting you in person. And I looked at him kind of quizzically and he says, I read your Sunday column every single week. And I said, so you're saying I look a lot older in person? He says, no. He says, I told Sandy, his wife, he says, I told Sandy that you were coming in and I always drop your column on her, on her side of the table and have her read things that you've written. Then he goes on to tell me that he's had a 20-year relationship with another broker.
Oh, wow.
Now think about that. So without even knowing it, I had proof stacked for this guy's benefit. So he knows who I am. His CPA, who he's had forever, says, you need to talk to Allen Buchanan. I'm sitting in front of him. I mean, it was just magical. It's really magical.
Nick, your wife calls that working out loud.
She does.
That's right.
Right?
Very well done. Nice. Love
Yeah,
it.
that was like page 8.
I know I read past page 1. This is the perfect segue to talk about that a little bit.
Do you have a question, or
how do people work out loud?
The way she defined it is you do what you do every day, you write about it, and you publish that online. And what she told me to do in 2009 is that I should start blogging. And I said, well, I do that every day. I blog myself on the back. She goes, no, not flog, blog. Okay? Yep. And I said, well, what on earth does that even mean? She goes, you write about what you do. I said, well, I tour buildings. I review lease contracts. I mean, it's just the most boring stuff in the world. How do you make that interesting? She goes, no, you're missing the point. You write about it, you publish it online. Before long, a niche is created. Before long, a digital footprint, a digital voice is created. And then when someone Googles commercial real estate, how to tour, how to lease, how to buy, etc., your volume of working out loud is there.
Yep.
And you gotta understand, this was 2009. I mean, Facebook was just out of the college campuses at that time. X was Twitter, and it was kind of fun and goofy. LinkedIn was sort of an online resume. You had a social media network called Plaxo, which isn't even around anymore. YouTube videos were only like a minute long. So it was really the wild, wild west in terms of social media.
Right. Yeah. I remember this time because Bo started doing it, of course. That's how you all know each other. And Bo started introducing me to that as well. Because I just moved to Chicago. This is probably 2012 or 13, actually. And yeah, anyway, what?
Well, somebody was asking me the other day, like, why go through the brain damage of doing a podcast? Because if I'm being honest, this is a lot more work than I thought it would be. And apart from the fact that it's a blast because I get to do it with you,
Right.
The real reason is everything about our business is made easier because people know who we are.
Right.
And because people know who you are and you've demonstrated your expertise, like ideally people who watch the show are getting something valuable out of it. We're not charging them for that, you know? So now when I have an opportunity, it's like people know me, and it surprises me every time, you know? And that's what happened with you, Allen, in your story. Like, not only did you get like the referral from one of the most trusted people in anybody's life, the CPA, but you'd been writing that column for how many years? This guy had been following you for 15 years, and he knew all kinds, like you didn't have to sell yourself. And so, I mean, that was like the double barrel there, you know, and that's how it plays out sometimes. It's worth the squeeze, you know.
It was so interesting because I wondered why this gentleman waited until the end of the meeting to share that with me.
Why do you think?
I really think that he wanted the opportunity to see, is the person sitting in front of me really the person that writes on Sunday? Or is there a different persona? So one of my all-time sayings about social media, and people say, well, gee, how do you become successful doing social media? For me, it's three things. You got to be authentic, and that's what I just described. if he had detected any sense that the guy on Sunday is not the same guy sitting across from me, he would have never shared with me that he read my column, and he would have probably never done business with us. So first and foremost, authenticity. Second is consistency. Every single Tuesday, I know that another episode of Commercially Speaking is going to drop. And if it doesn't drop on a Tuesday, I think, well, maybe they were on vacation. I know y'all did a live broadcast with Hieronymus a couple of weeks ago. And so that was Friday and Tuesday. But, if it doesn't drop, I think, well, maybe they're on vacation or something. But if it doesn't drop 2 weeks in a row, then I'm wondering what the heck.
Yeah.
Right? So consistency.
Well, it's like we're breaking trust with you. Almost.
You're breaking trust with me. It's like my newspaper hasn't been delivered. And yes, I'm still a guy that gets a newspaper delivered. And Timmy, that's where they actually bring the paper and they drop it on your front porch.
Oh, he was the kid who got to do that a little bit.
Yeah, I broke a few windows 5 a.m. in the morning, throwing those things at doors. I remember, but I was very, very young.
So that's your consistency. And then finally is your message, your content has got to speak to your audience. In other words, my Tuesday traffic tips only speak to brokers. I've had people go, oh, you do those Tuesday traffic tips, any of your clients ever call you? And I said, no, my clients don't call me because my clients could care less about brokerage advice, right? But the brokerage advice is what I do with other brokers to try to build relationships there. The location advice blog, which is the Orange County Register column, that's what I write to build credibility with the folks with whom I met last week.
Yeah.
So that content has got to be relevant to your audience, or you're going to be barking into an empty room. Right. Y'all's podcast absolutely positively strikes a chord with so many, investors, brokers, lenders, you name it. Y'all have done a phenomenal job at creating content that is very relevant to your audience.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, do you want to get into what sequence actually is? It's the title of the book. It's the framework of it's kind of the meat in the center of this book. And we don't want to give them too much, because we need them to actually go buy the book. But tell us what sequence is.
This episode is sponsored in part by Site to Do Business, the ultimate commercial real estate data analysis and mapping tool. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, Site to Do Business provides the data and insights you need to make informed decisions and close deals faster. Frankly, it's the tool that I use the most in my business. Access comprehensive market analysis, demographic data, and powerful mapping tools like ArcGIS, Placer AI, and flood maps all in one place. Identify the best locations for your clients, analyze market trends, and present your findings with confidence. Don't miss out on this game-changing platform. Visit STDB.com today and see how it can optimize your business. And now back to the show.
Yes, it's a double entendre, which for those keeping score at home means a double meaning. And I'm a big double entendre guy. I really love things that are clever, that have double meanings. So sequence is an acronym that are the steps of a commercial real estate transaction. But it's also the steps or the sequence in creating a career, successful commercial real estate career.
Wow.
So the acronym piece, the sequence piece, when my son-in-law Joshua came on board in 2014 as my marketing associate, I had to come up with a way to explain the steps of a commercial real estate deal so he would understand it, right? That's when I came up with sequence. So S is source. And there are 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 or 15 different ways to source a real estate deal. E is evaluate. I like to do that in person. Q is the qualify framework, which if you can imagine sequence going across this way and qualify going down this way, it forms a little T. And the qualify has an acronym that stands for those things.
This is
Then
so
you have what
secretive of you with these acronyms.
Yeah.
Then you have under contract, you have execute, you have to negotiate and close, which is the N. You have to get paid, which is the commission, which is the C. And then finally, something that I don't think a lot of commercial real estate brokers do a great job at, which is expand. Now, Ed Winslow in his book, Proof Stacking, talks about expand. And what expand means in its simplest form is you've closed a deal. Okay, so what? Here's so what. Who else could benefit from knowing about that deal? What other owner? What other occupant in the marketplace? What other broker? What other lender could benefit from having that information? So the expand piece starts the sequence all over again if you do it properly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, we talked a little bit when we were talking about these referral sources from these 6 categories of people. That's obviously a source.
Correct.
What are some other ways you can source deals?
Well, you can do what I call cold outreach or warm outreach, which is you can pick up the phone and you can dial. And you can either dial directly to owners, dial directly to occupants, or dial directly to referral partners. So that's one way to do it. You can get inbound leads, which is if you're creating signage, if you're mailing out brochures, people may call you and say, hey, I've got something coming up. I'd like to talk to you about that. Certainly content creation has become a huge way to source deals. You know, I took a brief hiatus from doing the Tuesday traffic tips starting the spring of 2023. They're now back in force. But I can tell you the landscape of social media marketing has changed so dramatically in that period of time. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much noise. There are nothing like what y'all have done with podcasting, but it seems that everyone has a podcast. When I started doing videos from the front seat of my car in 2013, I was the only person doing video in the commercial real estate space. Now everyone's doing that.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that whole aspect of content marketing is another way to source deals. And certainly, you know, hard collateral mailing still works quite well, frankly.
Yep.
So I go through 5 or 6 ways that are the most common ways people source deals.
I want to mention a side note here just real quick before we move on with in reference to how social media, the landscape has changed so much. And one of the examples of that is there is so much noise. There's so much doing it. There's so many people doing it. I want to show the other side of the coin to that, because this is the world that I live in with what we do here and in other things that I do. Social media has also changed to where if you notice, if you're a content creator or if you're somebody who's watching, you're not just being shown the people you follow. Your stuff is not just being shown to the people who follow you. It has really, I think we talked, someone mentioned this, it was probably Mo and Fly, about the TikTokification of what's going on. So basically what this means to somebody who is starting out from zero, if you want to do this, you want to start writing, start making video content from your car, whatever it is, if you make good content and you get good at it, it can reach so much further than it could 10 years ago. Faster. It can reach more people faster because it is pushing your content out to everyone that they think, you know, to their For You pages. So we're getting followers, and who you follow doesn't matter as much anymore. And that is a huge opportunity that is happening in today's landscape. So just a little.
And if you're somebody like me who was active on Twitter for 10 years and then just said, peace, I'm out.
Yeah.
For a handful of years, which is exactly what I did. And then you come back. Like now when I post on X, Like my 10,000 plus followers,
Yeah.
like what? 600 are going to
Yeah.
even
maybe.
be offered it. Like they won't all see it. They won't even all have the opportunity to see it. It's the algorithms that are deciding.
That's right.
Hey, this needs to go to these people.
Right. But the rules that you had, authenticity, consistency, and who you're talking to are still just as important.
Yep.
Right. So if you did come
Probably
back
more
and you
so.
were consistent, yeah, more so, 100%. So if you did come back and you were more consistent, you would see a difference there, and you would see a larger reach than you had before.
Yep.
But that's a whole commitment there.
Sure.
And it's like,
Yeah, well, that's a whole other episode.
Yeah,
Let's get back to sequence.
Okay, cool.
Because the next thing is this idea of evaluating, and the way you describe evaluate, it wouldn't fit into your acronym, but that's like a needs analysis interview, right?
Yes.
That's where you're
Oh, it
really
is.
trying to understand. So how you mentioned you like to do that on purpose, or not on purpose, but in person.
In person, yes.
Like, how does that go? Like, what's a Allen Buchanan needs analysis interview sound like?
Well, it's focus questioning in its simplest form, and I learned that where from our friend, and I will never forget that conversation. And you actually delivered it. You delivered that piece of the immersion.
are we
And
talking Massimo? Yeah.
Yeah.
We are.
Rod
Yeah.
sent to Massimo. Big shout out.
Our buddy. Another shout out for you, Rod. But yeah, it's focus questioning, and Rod will be the first to tell you he didn't design focus questioning. That came from Mark Faust, Growth or Bust, who I mentioned in the book. But focus questioning works like this. Facts. You got to ask some facts questions. Then you got to ask some opportunity questions. You got to follow those up with consequence questions. Then you have to follow up with understanding, and you finally got to follow up with a next step or a solution question. So it could work as simply as this. So Timmy, you've been doing these podcasts now, I guess, for like 3 years. Is that right?
That's right. Almost.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if I recall, one of the biggest episodes in terms of viewership you've had was when you interviewed your mom. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
walk me through why you decided to interview your mom.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people were asking about. We had our dad on, the weeks before. A lot of people are asking about mom. We know mom is like an incredible storyteller, and she needs the right location and context to do that in. And this is a perfect way to do it. And so there's one. And then the other one was like, I loved having dad on because we have this that we can look back on. We can hear stories that maybe we would never have heard of that are being recorded. So it's a legacy piece as well for our family and our brothers and sisters and our grandkids. And
Future generations.
yeah, it's there now. It's there forever. I want to do it more with them in different, more episodes and stuff. But yeah.
So if you hadn't had your mom on, what would that have meant to your total viewership?
Well, I'm not. That's a good question. Really got me thinking.
Which, by the way, is what a consequence question is supposed to do.
Right.
Supposed to get you to stop in your tracks. I'll never forget the way Bo framed it when I learned it. You want her to do math. Okay, It doesn't work in this context, but I've really got you thinking. Had you not had her on, what would that have meant to your podcast?
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then once I'm not going to put you on the spot anymore, but you answered however you answer it. Then now it's my turn to review everything I've heard. Okay, you've been doing this podcast for 3 years. You the one that created the widest viewership was with your mom. Had you not had your mom on, it would have meant this to the podcast. So as I understand it, I get all those correct. To which you respond, yeah, you nailed them. And so now I come up with the solution. So Timmy, Bo, from what I understand, XYZ, here's what I would recommend as the next step. Does that sound like a plan to you?
Well,
Yes,
you
no,
nailed it.
maybe. Okay.
Right.
So that is, I walked you through focus questioning, and you had no idea I was even walking you through focus questioning, right? And so the same thing would be accomplished with a lead that comes across my desk, someone that is thinking about moving, someone is going to be approaching a vacancy and they need to sell or lease an asset or lease or sell a leased asset, et cetera, which is, I know which Bo does to a great degree. So you think through that. Now, one thing about fact questioning, there's a lot of information on the internet. How did I know that your mom's episode was the most widely viewed of any? Well, because I've listened to your podcasts. And if I'd not known that, shame on me, because that's out there available for me to find.
Right.
So you have to be careful with the fact questioning that doesn't come off like an inquisition. In other words, I'm not asking you things that I already should know as a professional.
Right.
So, yeah, but that's the way I run an evaluation meeting. And then I come away after I've sourced it, after I've evaluated it, and frankly, I put it through and say, gee, is this someone with whom I have chemistry? Is this someone I feel like I can serve? Or am I better served recommending that they do business with someone else? And
Yes.
before I even go into the qualify stage, the under control stage, I go through a very, very strict evaluation.
Yeah, and, really what you want to do is, like, you're trying to win the business,
Right.
but you're also interviewing them for fit. Like, are they a good fit for me and our firm?
Right. Yeah.
And we're having conversations right now about cutting a particular client loose. Turns out they're not a good fit.
Yeah. Man,
and there's something magical and wonderful about
Yeah.
cutting a bad fit client loose.
Yeah, I like Luce. I mean, he is a really nice guy, but I don't know if we should be broadcasting that you're cutting loose from the client list.
What are you talking?
Kevin Bacon would be happy. Footloose.
Yeah, a little foot loose. Yeah, firing a client's what we're talking about for those who didn't get the joke. All right.
Yeah. So how exactly do you know, or what exactly is it that you go through where you're like, okay, I'm going to say no to this person, or that, yes, this is, how do they qualify?
How do I qualify, or are we still talking about focus questioning?
No, how do they qualify? Or yes,
How do I qualify a lead?
yes, how do you qualify a lead?
Yeah, so I run them through the qualify framework, which is the QUALIFY. And Q is quantitative need. U is urgency. A is authority. L is loyalty. I is intention or expectation. F is fuel. And Y is yearning. Okay? So the Q, the U, and the Y all work together to form a triad. I call it the triad of motivation. And let me just give you a real quick example. So our grandson Thomas came to our house at the end of March, and he goes, "Papa, I want to dye Easter eggs. Can we do that?" I said, "Absolutely. That'll be a lot of fun." He says, "Okay, let's go to Albertsons and buy a dozen eggs." And I said, "Well, we don't really need to buy a dozen eggs today because Easter's not for 2 more weeks. We've got time." So did we have a quantitative need? The answer is absolutely. We needed eggs. Was there urgency? No, we had 2 weeks to go. All right? So how does the yearning, or what I call the catalyst, how does that fit into the triad? It fits in like this. We got a circular the next day in the mail from Albertsons up the street. Eggs are half price. Oh. So that was the catalyst, which caused the urgency for me to act on the quantitative need. So many times we talk to companies that say, "Yeah, we need to move, we're out of space." and you walk out into their plant and you notice that, man, there's 4 feet of airspace that if we just re-rack this warehouse, they wouldn't have to move. They could become more efficient. So do you really want to undertake the cost, the disruption, the inefficiency of moving your operation when you could just simply re-rack and stay here?
Racks are like shelves.
Yeah. No, I don't. Sure.
Yeah. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. I was poking.
Yeah,
I knew he knew that.
Yeah. I pictured the right thing in my head.
Yeah.
So really dialing in on that quantitative need is so critically important. I tell the story in the book about a referral that we got from a business banker. And he said, hey, our folks are out of space. They're eyeing the building across the parking lot. It's going to be, $7 million for them to buy this building across the parking lot. They're prepared to do it. Would you go meet with them and see what you can determine? They had a 40,000 square foot building. Within the 40,000 square foot building, they had about 25,000 machinery and raw materials. The balance of the building was 6-foot high storage shelving where they had all these little bitty tiny pieces. And they were very proud of the shelving and, oh, this is just instrumental to our business and it's really important and we really need these and we have ready access to them, etc. And I looked above and the ceiling heights are 22 feet clear and they've got 6-foot shelving. And so I said, have you all ever heard of a machine called a Cardex Rimstar machine? And they go, we have no clue what you're even talking about. And I said, well, Cardex Rimstar machine takes a footprint of about 150 feet, 10 by 15. It goes all the way up to the rafters and it sorts the parts as you need them. So it stores all these things in this carousel. And you plug in a code, boom, here it is. I need 3 of these, boom, there they are. And they said, wow, that's pretty cool. And I said, if we could install one of those at 150 feet and free up this 15,000 feet of warehouse, you wouldn't have to buy the building across the parking lot from you. And they go, oh, that's amazing. How do we do that? Anyway, I introduced them to someone that could do that for them. Now, your listeners may be saying, well, wait a minute. I thought the guy sold and leased commercial real estate for a living. Didn't he just talk himself out of a deal, right?
Right.
And he did.
Well, I did, but it was the wrong move for them to buy a piece of property across the parking lot. So now they're operating out of 2 buildings. They got a $7 million illiquid asset. It's not going to work. They're going to overpay. It just was fraught with so many obstacles. And just pointing out a little bit different way to do business was really critical. So that quantitative need, man, you really got to dial in hard on that.
Yeah, you talked yourself out of that deal, but the amount of trust that you build, that's huge. It's
huge.
Worth even more.
And here's an example of how huge this is. Top producer Todd Humphreys. He does this all the time. Like he tries to help people make the right decision.
Yeah.
And oftentimes he's like, you shouldn't do this. And so he's got a client who he's worked with for years and dozens of times over the years. Now, he's done a lot of deals with this guy, but he's built that trust by helping him avoid bad decisions and make good ones. So he tells him all the time, hey, you don't want to do this deal. Like, I'll get paid if you do, but like this isn't it. And so now there's a dispute with his kids. And one of his kids is accusing top producer Todd Humphreys of not acting in their dad's best interest. And that dad, talk about coming to the coming to the plate in defense of
Todd.
Like this guy was like, I can't tell you how many times he's told me not to do a deal. I mean, like the trust had been so earned over so many years that when Todd's integrity was questioned, like the client was like,
by the client's son.
Yeah. So it was, look, it's almost like when you're a server. Did you ever wait tables, Allen?
I didn't know.
Well, maybe you've had this experience where you order something and the server's like, I wouldn't do that. Not today. And they kind of like, don't like, that's a bad idea today. You might want to try that. And especially if the alternative is something a little less pricey.
Right.
Yes.
Then like all of a sudden you're like, oh, this dude's really saving me. He's not trying to upsell me. He's not trying to increase the ticket price so that he increases his tip. That engenders a lot of trust right off the bat at a restaurant with somebody I'm never going to see again.
Right.
So you do that with extra zeros on it with somebody you're going to work with for years. Like to your point, man, that establishes a tremendous amount of trust.
Right.
Yep.
Man.
And it's got to be authentic. It's got to come from the right place, because folks can look and see through someone being disingenuous so quickly. So quickly. And I try to do it in such a manner where I'm not saying that's a bad idea or you should rethink that. I try to demonstrate to them how going a different direction might be in their best interest. And then if they want to debate me and say, well, no, we really believe that buying the building across the way could make sense for this and this and this and this reason, then we have a conversation. Ultimately, they choose to go that direction. Then, at a certain point, if the deal hits the skids, then you can go back and remind them, look, we had this conversation about you re-racking your warehouse, becoming more efficient. I believe the direction at that point was we really wanted to pursue the building across the parking lot. So that has a powerful callback element as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it kind of blows my mind, the solutions that you knew in these moments when the job to the outside eye, your job is to make a deal, right? To make it happen. However, not only did you talk yourself out of a deal, you knew the solution. You could see the solution for them, which is it's almost like
why?
That is kind of my question. It's got to be through experience and
it's all that, but it's because he specializes.
Yeah, because I can see a shout out to our Canadian brother,
Chad Griffiths,
right? Like I can see him. Do you know Chad Griffiths?
Oh, heck yeah, they know each other.
I do. Yeah. I was actually just a guest on his podcast last week. The episode hadn't even dropped yet, but yeah, he's a great guy.
Dude, that
knows his chops.
He knows everything. He's in love with industrial, right? And I can see him just because we know him pretty well. We've had him on a couple times. He just loves this stuff, which I assume you do as well. I mean, you specialize in the same thing, but I can completely see him knowing the solution to the problem here, which is kind of making sense to me. More of like, it kind of actually more answers my question of how do you know all that? And it's like, well, it's your job to know all that so you can give the client the best possible service you can in this area. That's why they come to you.
Well, just back up a second.
You niche down.
Yeah. Well, all that's true, but this is what normal would have looked like. Somebody walks in there, right? They've got a real estate license. They work for a commercial real estate brokerage company. They walk in there with somebody who wants to buy the building across the street, and they just do everything imaginable to try to make that happen as quickly as possible.
Right.
Because they were told that's their goal. So I'm not even suggesting that there's ill will or anything untoward here.
Right.
But they walk in thinking, this person wants to buy that building, so I'm going to help them do it as quickly as possible. That way they accomplish their goal as quickly as possible, and I get paid as quickly as possible.
Right.
Everybody wins.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But if you go through, the sequence as he's laying it out, you're going to evaluate their real need. Right. You're going to tour the property, and you're going to tell them the truth about what you believe is in their best interest. As you qualify them, you're going to build a tremendous amount of trust.
Yeah.
And because you specialize and care so much, you're going to know things about the QS 3000 super mega awesome machine, whatever he was calling it, that can go get the parts for you.
And it could
that
check
solves
the
their
specs
real
on
problem.
the inline for the rotary girder.
Yeah, whatever. It's like, but like that's if you get a specialist who actually cares about the people he's trying to serve or she's trying to serve, like that's the difference,
right,
between normal and somebody who's
elite,
just elite. Yeah, that's a huge monster difference.
And both, where I thought you were going initially, I thought you're going to talk about the network, right? You talked about the niche, which is a big piece of it. Yeah, I understand family-owned, family-operated manufacturing distribution businesses. I was a part of one. I know what that's like. I know the dynamics. I know the pain. I know the joy, etc. But I've done so much strategic networking over the years that I have upstream referral partners. And what I mean by those are the 6 we talked about. This referral came from a banker, but I also have a network of downstream partners. Once a deal's done, who's my environmental engineer? Who's my SBA lender? Who's my racking and storage provider? Who's my dock and door person? Who does my Cardex Rimstar? Who's my contractor? Who does flooring? Who does et cetera? So I have gotten to know my upstream and downstream referral partners so well that I can practically sell their business for them. Mm-hmm. So I know what to ask. I know when I see something, I know that is a potential solution because I've invested the time to understand what my referral partners do for a living. I can tell you in a heartbeat if someone says, yeah, we're thinking about selling our company. I can talk enough about someone selling a company. That's not what I do. I sell buildings. But I know enough about selling the businesses that I can throw out some words like, well, do you see yourself selling this to a strategic partner, or do you see yourself selling this to a private equity group? Mm-hmm. And if you sell it to a private equity group, they're probably not going to want to relocate the business. You own the building. That could be huge for you. Whereas a strategic probably doesn't want your real estate. So I can talk through that because I understand how my referral partners do business and what they look for.
Yeah.
It's really smart.
This is, go ahead.
We're going to, I think we're going to have Allen back.
Sure.
Oh, wow. Sweet.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more to talk. There's so much more to talk about. But as we pivot a little bit, like, do you want to do a pop quiz with Timmy?
Heck yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Heck yeah.
So, Allen, here's how this works. You've probably seen it before, but we're going to ask Timmy 5 questions. As our guest, you get to go first, and we're going to alternate. So you're going to ask Timmy question 1, 3, and 5. The rules of the pop quiz are, there are no rules. You can ask him anything you want. Something we've covered, or something totally off the wall, or something that you've seen in a previous episode. Feel free to try to play Stump Timmy. Make sense?
Perfect. Great.
All right.
Awesome. I go first?
You go first. Allen, question number 1.
What are the 2 meanings of the sequence?
What are the 2 meanings?
It's a double entendre.
That's right. Right. The sequence, the steps that you take towards, the book. There. Mm-hmm. And the sequence, the pattern on your clothing. The sequence. I am drawing a blank on the sequence, like as in the steps that you're taking, the sequence going through, and then
In the framework?
The framework would be the sequence. Yeah, in the framework of,
So the steps of a deal.
Yes.
Right? And then the steps in your career.
Steps in the deal, steps in the career. Gotcha.
Those are the 2 meanings.
I see. Okay. Yes.
No,
Okay.
I think that's worth partial credit. What do you think, Bo?
Well, okay, we can give him a half.
Okay. I'll take it. I'll
Okay.
take it. I'll
Okay.
take it. I'll take it.
All right, question 2. We didn't talk a whole lot about this because I feel like this could be, if we wanted it to be, a 5-hour episode of just talking about all this stuff, and that'd be a blast. But his qualify, high quality, is another acronym. All right, quantitative need, et cetera, et cetera. What's the L?
Loyalty.
Oh, come on!
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
baby.
Nice.
I did not think he was going to get that. That's
got it.
why, to answer your previous question, that's why people often don't qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're a bad fit. Oftentimes, it goes back to the L of loyalty.
And can you explain that briefly? In what sense?
Sure. Well, somebody who's loyal is going to, they're going to work with you.
I got you.
Exclusively.
you're
Exclusively.
Exclusively, like they're going to hire you on paper, and that frees you up to give them your best.
Right.
Because now you're protected.
Yeah.
And it really frees up. And so many people, I got a few popping around in my head right now. I'll be like, bring me a deal. Or, because they want to play the field. They don't want to exclude anybody else, or they want to do it themselves and hopefully not pay a fee or whatever.
They want you to fight for it.
Or they think if I don't hire one person, I can get everybody to work on it, which means nobody's really going to work on it.
Right.
It's not a good
see.
good thing, but
I
yeah.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, nicely done. Dang it. Alan, question number 3.
Yes, sir. Question number 3. What is a Cardex rim start machine?
Oh, this thing's amazing because you can plug in whatever the thing you need and it will go up and it will grab it. So I'm not sure, but in my head, it was something that would reach things that you can't reach automatically, that gives you more storage airspace to bring it to you, which basically allows you to store a lot more and use that airspace.
You nailed it. You nailed
Yeah,
it.
man.
You nailed it.
All right,
Yeah.
sweet.
This is good.
Sweet.
All right. Question 4. Who is the college basketball coach for Allen's alma mater?
Razorbacks.
Yes, sir.
Arkansas Razorbacks. Who's the?
Yes, sir.
Who's their basketball coach?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
I do. Okay, hold on. I do.
He used to coach at
I
Kentucky.
know. Was it? Is it Rick Pitino?
No.
Yes.
Tubby Smith.
Used to be.
It is
No.
Rick Pitino.
It's not Rick Pitino.
Used to be.
Oh, it used to be. But
No, Rick Pitino used to be at UK.
Yeah.
But who's the coach at Arkansas? It's
Was it someone who was at UK?
Yes.
Tubby Smith.
no.
I know. Oh, Coach Calipari.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I knew it was Italian. I'm sorry. I
It was-
threw that way out.
That's right. It was the other
Wow.
Italian former
Ooh,
UK.
boy.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So
All right.
I was
Now,
like, man, dude, why are you asking me this? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
are
yeah.
literally trying to stop. But it was, you knew that I could.
I
that
thought
is-
you were. I
those are
thought
like
you
the-
would actually know that.
I see. Okay.
You know.
I see.
He's not a UK coach with ED, right?
No, that's right. That's right.
All right,
Final
question 5.
Final
Nice
question.
callback.
What is the name of Joe Rogan's comedy club in Austin, Texas?
The mothership.
The mothership.
Yeah!
Yeah. That was a nice softball
Our
there for
sister
me.
lives in Austin, Texas.
That's right. That's right. Oh man, that's nice. Nice. That was such a softball for me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was perfect.
Yeah, the comedy mothership.
So good.
Sweet. That was great. Well, we're going to put the link of the sequence. If you want to buy that book, all the listeners, we're going to put that link in the show notes. Well, listener, you can buy that right now. I don't have to sell it to you right now. You just listen to this episode. If you don't want that book, I don't know, you're probably listening to the wrong show.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's just gonna say it. And where else would you like people to follow you? Where else can they find you? What do you want our listeners to know?
So Allen C. Buchanan, and you see my name down there. It's ALLEN C in the middle. That's my Twitter handle, my X handle, Allen C. Buchanan. LinkedIn, I'm fairly active on both. I do have a TikTok channel, although I haven't quite figured out how to maximize TikTok.
Sure.
But those are probably the two best. Buchanan at lee-associates.com, email. You can text me, you can call me at 714-624-3896, which is my mobile number. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you if you have a positive experience. You know, it's called The Sequence. My name is Allen Buchanan. If you hate it, it's called Selling Buildings. My name is Bob Knackle.
Boom!
Hey, just for the record, even though that got a big laugh out of me, these are both really good books.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
both
they
I would
are.
highly recommend. Both from people I know, like, and trust. Yeah.
Bob's such an incredible guy and such an incredible professional. But I did get him in the Massimo March Madness contest. Just FYI.
That's right.
Nice.
Now, I know what that is. You know what that is. Timmy has no clue what that is. Our listeners, likely, most of them don't know what that is. So, this is impressive. So share with us what that actually is and how you actually won.
Yeah, so I go through this in detail in the book. But during the pandemic, Rod Santamassimo, on behalf of all of his coaching clients, and if you recall, they canceled the NCAA tournament, shut down everything. It was just horrible. So
Yeah, because
Rod came up
Kentucky
with
would
this-
have gone to the Final Four that year.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I noticed you're wearing your Kentucky blue today, which is awesome. I am as well. Anyway, Rod came up with this brilliant idea called the Massimo March Madness, and he paired his clients into a 64-person bracket, and we quote unquote played each other each week, and Rod would choose a different metric each week. You didn't know beforehand what the metric's going to be. So one week it might be number of calls you make. The next week it might be number of completed dials. Next week, it might be the number of inactive clients you called. The next week, it might be the number of Zoom meetings you held, the number of referrals, etc. So this thing got bracketed down. And Rod had situated it in such a manner that if everything went according to plan, Allen Buchanan and Bob Knackle would square off. And Bob Knackle is famous for making just thousands and thousands of calls. But I wanted him face to face because I thought, you know what? He's not going to expect some little kid from Southern California to be able to compete in his world. And by George, I got him.
Nice.
I won the inaugural. So he did win the second. He did win the second one, but I didn't play the second year.
That's amazing. I didn't know walking into this. We were talking to somebody who got a par 3 on the 17th hole at Pebble Beach and went. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay.
You did.
As well as went face to face and beat Bob Knackle in some brilliant thing that Rod Santamassimo came up with. That man, the more I hear people talk about,
I'm telling you, Allen is the real deal.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's amazing. Allen, thank you so much for taking the time and doing this.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you.
Oh, I can't thank y'all enough. I've been looking so forward to this, and y'all are such an amazing duo, and what you've created here, and I'm not kidding. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Y'all are really, really good, and this is something with which you should be very, very proud.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. That means a lot. That means a ton.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Commercially Speaking. If you took nothing else from today's show, just remember, all great things start with divorce. Boy Scouts, baseball, and golf.
That is not what Allen meant or said.
Well, potato. Listen, if the sequence taught me anything, it's that success is repeatable.
True.
But also that I should never try to qualify a lead without adult supervision.
Which is why I'm here and why you, yes, you listening, should hit follow or subscribe wherever you're tuning in.
Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a comment on Spotify and YouTube. We will shout you out. It helps. It's a simple action that helps us out more than you know.
And speaking of shout outs,
Yes.
we got a comment here, best in its class, from Tara Hazel 1. This show makes commercial real estate actually cool. And by cool, I mean informative, interesting, and fun. I love watching Bo and Timmy's dynamic, and the format they have created together for disseminating the information is genius. They deliver a top-tier podcast, and they don't take themselves too seriously. Authentic and valuable.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Tara.
thank you.
Yeah, that's
very
amazing.
nice of her.
That's amazing. That was from Apple, from Spotify. Here's some comments. One is from Kyle. How do you pronounce that last name?
And Sarah.
And Sarah, easily my favorite CRE podcast. Great episode. Thank you, Kyle.
Oh, that's
amazing.
very nice.
Yeah.
Luke Price says, new to CRE and loving your clear breakdowns on things. Thank you, and keep it coming.
Thank you,
Thank
Luke.
you, Luke.
Yeah, that's great. And then Moon Fixer says, another great episode, guys. Thank you. Those were from Spotify.
And if you're not already signed up for the newsletter, you're missing out. We drop new episodes, market insights, and some of my favorite leadership and negotiate articles every week. Head to subscribe.wgbarron.com.
And if you need a virtual assistant so powerful, it makes your team feel like they're being followed around by a business-savvy ghost. Go to superpowershq.com/commercially speaking. It's where we found Alice, and boy, do we love Alice. For those in the back, that's superpowershq.com/commercially speaking.
Huge thanks to Allen Buchanan. Grab his book, The Sequence, and start structuring your CRE business like a pro.
And finally, Barbara Corcoran, I know you're listening. You've been listening this whole time. Come on the show. We'll build a whole sequence just for you. We'll call it Barbara. B, be iconic. A, answer our emails. R, really. B, be on our podcast. A, again, answer our emails.
We're done here.
Okay, I'll see you in escrow, Barbara. See y'all on the next one. Love you, brother.
Love you, brother.
Bye,
Bye, Alice.
Hey.
Bye, Bridget.
Bridget.
Hey.